Play ball.
Good morning and welcome to the really big football show. I tried to do my best, Ed Sullivan, but it didn't work out that way. It is Sunday. The really big football show. It is Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this 28th of September. How you fellas doing? We had a big thing of football yesterday and having a big thing of football today. You guys ready for it?
Big things. I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm not. I want to talk about the Ryder Cup, Major League Baseball, and all that. But I'll adjust on the fly to talk football.
This is football. The Ryder Cup
early Sunday morning smartassness is going
on. A lot's going on, but football dominates the day.
I want to say for Mac McGrath's memory that this Ryder Cup is the biggest story of the weekend. Sorry, Mac. It just is.
Mac.
All right.
I brought up golf.
Yeah. I mean, actually good. Yeah, I was a big golf guy. College football yesterday. We go over some scores and we'll talk about a couple of teams here. Virginia. There was a lot of upsets, overtimes in the top 25. Virginia upsets number 8 Florida State, 46-38 in 2 overtimes. Eesh. Number 18 too. Arizona upsets number 24 TCU 27-24. Number 23 Illinois outlast number 21 USC 34-32. Number 16, Georgia Tech escapes Wake Forest 30-29. Number 4, LSU goes down to number 13, Ole Miss 24-19. Sorry, James. Number 15, Tennessee beats Mississippi State 41-34 in overtime. Barely. Number 6, Oregon outlasts number 3, Penn State 30-24 in 2 overtimes. Boy, that was killing me in picks. Number 17, Alabama beats number 5, Georgia, 24-21. Woo!
Exciting from noon on yesterday. Well, actually from Friday night on. Just some exciting football. That Oregon Penn State turned out to be a great football game last night. And my big takeaway from that game, Dante Moore is head and shoulders above Drew Allar. We keep talking about guys like Arch Manning, who's played very little football, but we got guys like Drew Allar and Clay Klublek, who've got their third-year starters, and they're not playing good football. Drew Allar hasn't played really all that great leading up to last night, and he did not play well last night. And they came back from a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter. I'll give him credit for that. Showed some poise, didn't get himself out of the game, but he did not play well last night, and it culminated in that interception in overtime. And I thought Dante Moore was really, really good for Oregon. He's a lot better than I thought. And he's going to start getting some more press after last night's primetime performance. Good for the Ducks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple big Oregon fans that follow my show. Then Paul might be here this morning. I don't know. Boston Paul, who lives in Wisconsin, is an Oregon fan. You guys can figure that part out. I can't. But he talks about disrespect, and I said, go win a football game. And they went and they won a football game in one of the toughest places to win.
That's
this atmosphere.
You always say that the biggest thing about the knock on James Franklin is that he can't win the big games.
4-21 now against top 10 teams.
But now my question to you is, do you blame him or the quarterback in this game?
I got to blame both. I mean, it's part of the quarterback's play and maybe regression, if you will, a little bit, because he's got more weapons than he's ever had there. He's got really good wide receivers. They got a good running game, and their offense never seems to like be in the 21st century. I don't know why. I mean, it just seems like, and maybe it's my perception and it gets clouded by my thoughts about James Franklin, but it's got to come back to the coaching staff at some point. I mean, players got to play. I get it, but you got to coach them up, and his teams play tight in big games. And I think it comes from the top. That's just, I always thought that too with Ryan Day until they finally won a national championship, that those teams would play tight in big games because he was tight. And I think that stuff trickles down. Exciting game though last night, I thought.
I picked Penn State, and I'm not picking them anymore going forward.
Wow, really? One game? You're not going to pick them?
Well, the big games.
I think in our pool, I didn't bet. I bet the over in that game, and I got a gift because it was 30. It was only 28 points scored. No, I'm sorry, 34 points scored in regulation. So they had to score 20 points for me to win by half a point in overtime. I love those wins.
So what was your game of interest there, Jack, yesterday?
This is the best.
Alabama beating Georgia, because after Alabama lost, the opener of the season, you got the feeling they were long in the tooth, that their time had maybe passed them by. They still have a good team, but they were no longer national power. But yesterday they sent a message. They're still a national power. They're going to be in the mix for the national championship. So that intrigued me. They'll be in the mix. They'll be in the mix at the end.
James already back there shaking his head.
James doesn't think much of Georgia, so he doesn't think much of the Alabama win.
I was going to say that, actually. I don't know yet whether Alabama's better than I thought or Georgia isn't that good. I just don't know yet. And right now, Ole Miss and A&M are kind of in control early on in that conference. And I think LSU's better than either one of those teams last night, too.
Hey, look, let me say this about that game. I was shaking my head because Alabama came out early. They scored 24 points in the first half and 0 laid a goose egg in the second half.
Yeah.
And Georgia had its opportunities. I mean, in the fourth quarter, there was a deep bomb from Gunnar Stockton to his true freshman wide receiver, and he dropped it. I mean, and that was a go-ahead touchdown if he catches it. And then also Kirby Smart was not so smart on 4th and 1 when he could have tied, went for the field goal to tie at 24-all. He went for it on 4th and 1. They got stopped. So they had opportunities to put themselves in position to win, either tie or win this game, but it didn't happen. And so, credit to Alabama. I'm going to give them credit for winning, but you still have to wonder, like he said, they didn't score 24. They didn't score anything in the second half.
Yeah.
And Georgia.
4th and 1. And Kirby Smart goes for it, and you criticize him. 4th and 1. It's not 4th and 4, 4th and 5. 4th and 1, you expect it to go.
But you're in the red zone.
Alabama defense, stop them.
You're in the red zone. You're in the red zone, and it's 9 minutes to go in the game. Which is plenty of time. But again, they don't score anything. I mean, hindsight 2020. Now looking at it, they don't score any points either. So they're 24-21, and the game ends with no one. I mean, I think they scored that last that third touchdown in the third quarter. So nobody scored in the fourth. And Alabama, to be fair, Alabama controlled the clock at the end, and they were able to get key first downs to end the ball game. So they could have scored probably themselves. But with that said, you take every point you can get against somebody that's manhandling you in the first half.
Especially at home, I'd look to extend that game is what I would do myself. And usually I'm a go for it kind of guy, but I would have kicked the field goal, I think, there. Still a lot of question marks about both these teams, though. Starting with the quarterbacks, Ty Simpson had a good game last night, but I still don't know that Ty Simpson is a upper echelon quarterback. How many guys are fifth-year seniors getting their first chance to start. If you're good enough, you've moved on a long time ago to someplace else or played here. And that makes me wonder about him. And Gunnar Stockton, he had a good game against Tennessee, but this game here looked like this is what the rest of his season has looked like. He's been very, I don't even know if he's been average, quite frankly. And that's going to hurt this team. I think both these teams are, I don't know, maybe they both don't make the playoff. That would be amazing if Alabama and Georgia both didn't make the playoff. The SEC looks tough top to bottom. Mississippi State might be one of the most improved teams in the country.
Goodness.
Playing out of their you're going to see a big game next week. Vanderbilt goes to Alabama next week. Big game. That's going to be an exciting game.
Now, Brian, I just had an idea. Mac used to have Chiefs do a New England Patriot Weekly Report. Instead of that, this season, can Chiefs do a North Carolina report, with Belichick, like weekly, like the latest on North Carolina.
I'd like to resign my position now, please. So what about put me in the electric chair, Jack? Don't give me that.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what about them LSU Tigers there, James? What was what did you feel about that game?
I wasn't sure what we were going to do in this game. I thought defensively we would play very well. I mean, I think, but I heard Booger McFarland say that Lane Kiffin might have some wrinkles for them because he's just pretty genius at that. And he was right. There were some blown coverages and some they use their tight end very well in motion and different plays. I mean, where the guy was just wide open. And so that was unfortunate. But I think the biggest thing for LSU, what you've been seeing from them all season, is that their offense seems to be not quite right. They lost four starters on the offensive line last year, and it showed. It's showing now. It's starting to show itself because you had they played three on the line, three in the front, and they were still getting pressure on Garrett Nussmeier. And that's scary and that's unfortunate because they're putting 8 back. And so LSU has talent at the wide receiver position, but they can't get open because they're playing for you to run the ball, and LSU can't run the ball. And so, but hats off to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. They came out and played a strategic game. They won their game. They're undefeated. And like Keith said, they're going to be pretty scary the rest of the way, looking like they can actually run the table potentially. They got to beat Alabama, but we'll see.
That's
and LSU
have their top running back out for LSU. That would have been.
But even with him, if he was in, he wasn't that great. I mean, the offensive line was. I mean, it's just the run game. We're I think second to the bottom offensively, just of the SEC. So that's not good for a Brian Kelly team whose team is supposed to be noted for their offense.
Against a team with a really putrid defense. Arkansas ran the ball up and down the field against them last week. So that's a bad sign for LSU right there.
Yep.
And I take LSU yesterday, by the way. I always take Ole Miss or Lane Kiffin in these games, and he loses these games all the time. And now he wins one, and I'm on the wrong side.
10 games, and I'm 2-8. That's just ridiculous. I quit.
I think a lot of us had a bad day yesterday because most of the teams that we picked, yeah,
it wasn't
lost.
Good. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
My game, of course, because there was no Michigan game. Michigan was off, but Rice versus Navy. Navy pulled out a 21-13 win. I'm gonna tell you something. If teams start playing quarterback Blake Horvath on the passing game and stop his running game, Navy's going to be in trouble because he's not a very good passer. He is not a quarter. He's like, let me see, comparable in the NFL. Nah, I can't. There's really nobody I can compare in the NFL. That's like, he just can't. He can run. He's very good running. But as far as the air attack is concerned, if you have a pretty good defense, pass defense, you can beat Navy. And Rice showed that pretty much this whole game. It was he won this game on his feet.
Yeah, well, Navy's never been one to have a high-powered passing offense anyway, but it's a good football team and it's well coached, and they've got a chance to win the American Conference. And they're one of 5 or 6 teams that are going to be alive for that Group of 5 playoff nod if they should win the Americans. So, and it's good because I like to see the military academies do well. Army didn't do as well this week, but Navy did.
Air Force.
No, Air Force got beat too.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We've talked a lot more on our shows about Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders, and Deion he's come down to earth. The novelty of him being the Colorado coach is kind of worn off. I mean, he's meant a lot to the program, and he might mean a lot to the program going forward, even though I question whether he's going to stay beyond this season. But another tough loss yesterday, They had the lead over BYU, let the game get away, and he was philosophical after. He didn't even seem to be that upset, which is a little bit of a red flag as far as his future in Colorado.
He's the poster child now, or Colorado's a poster child for this is the anti-Clemson situation. You can't rely just on the transfer portal. You've got to go out and recruit, and he doesn't go out and recruit. His only good year with Colorado, we had two of the best players in college football last year. Maybe 3 when you count the other wide receiver, also had a big year. Horn had a really good year as well.
Yeah.
Those guys all matriculate out, and they're not very good at all, for sure.
How hard is he trying to recruit? Because I can't imagine him not being, able to recruit kids because he's got the personality. He has the pedigree, everything, a young kid would want to come play for Deion Sanders at Colorado. So you kind of question what type of recruiter he is. What I have heard for 3 years in Colorado is he does not go out and visit a lot of kids. Yeah, there you go.
He got Travis Hunter to flip from Florida State when he was still at Jackson State, which was this big coup. I mean, his kids were always going to come and play for him.
Well, he got him. Travis Hunter was supposed to go to Florida, and then he went to Jackson State. He flipped to go to Jackson State.
Yeah, it was Florida State.
Florida State. Yeah. But still, that's a coup. But, again, from what I understand, since he got to Colorado, he may yet to have sat in a kid's living room. And, again, head coaches don't necessarily do that today because they've got an entire organization to go out and recruit, but sometimes the head coach has got to go out and close a deal. And from what I understand, Deion has not been focused on that. Everything's been focused on the transfer portal. And when it goes well, it's good, but when it goes bad, it goes really bad. Florida State, an example of that last year, too.
I think also, too, you have to attribute how much money is there for NIL for those kids, too, there in Colorado. So I don't know if it may not be much.
That's the big disparity right now, right? Mike Gundy gets fired last week at Oklahoma State. They spent $7 million like the last 3 years in NIL. And Oregon, for instance, and it was a big story a week ago, is at like 40 plus million. I mean, you're not going to be able to compete if this is going to be how we do this, so.
Yeah, I thought the NIL was supposed to be, help these teams that are mediocre get better. But apparently that's not it. Money still reigns high.
Is there a cap as far as how much a school can spend the NIL?
Well,
not yet, I don't think, right?
Yeah, not
yet. Theoretically, this ruling, the suit against Tennessee and the House suit that was against Tennessee and the NCAA capped spending. So there's pay for play. $20 million you're supposed to be able to spend for your entire sports program. Not just football, your entire sports program. Nobody's going to stick to that. That goes into effect next year. These teams are spending, Texas Tech spent $55 million on this year's football roster. You think they're going to back up to 20 or less than 20 because you got to fund other programs? Not going to happen.
20? Kids aren't going to play.
What's going to happen is you're going to see NIL money still coming on, and it's going to go back to under the table like it was before, unless – again, they put some kind of rulings into place. But theoretically, right now, there is a cap of $20 million, but nobody's going to stick to it.
Oh, my goodness. 20. They're going to cause more problems than that if they're just really trying to cap it at 20. I mean, Ohio State had 20 alone themselves when they won the championship last year.
Yeah. Again, Texas Tech $55 million this year, and let's see what they get to show for it. So, again, and that's not an NIL cap. That's literally pay for play.
Can you imagine you let the alumni give whatever amount they wanted, and Jerry, that could go to the players, and Jerry Jones gave $100 million to Arkansas, figuring I'm not going to win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, but if Arkansas wins the national championship, I come out as a hero.
That might be a better use of Jerry's money.
Without a doubt. Right, exactly.
Yeah, they'd love him in Arkansas.
They'd be a powerhouse with $100 million.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
NIL.
He can afford to pay it.
Thing I just don't like about the NIL is that it was a good idea, but can you make rules before you put the idea into play? I mean, Jesus, you didn't see none of this coming. I mean, all these people out here to do analytics, you didn't see none of this coming.
Well, it's funny when it started, they said, we'll let the universities set their own parameters. I mean, that's like giving bank robbers a key to the bank, for crying out loud. Jesus.
So, does anybody else have anything for the college day yesterday? They want
Let me see if I made any quick note. We kind of touched on everything. Vanderbilt, big story. And John Mateer being out for Oklahoma. Big story.
Yeah.
Oklahoma fans keep telling me, 3 weeks. The vagueness of how long they're saying he's going to be out. The coach said probably this season. That's not a good sign for Oklahoma. And he was playing good football too. So that's a big sign.
Okay, kudos to Illinois for bouncing back
Good
after
one. That's a
getting
good one,
swept last week.
Yep.
A big win over USC, and so maybe it was just a bad week they had the week before. So
good call.
Nice job.
Yeah, and it's funny because Indiana barely beat Iowa.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I was like, oh, wow, they didn't put 63 on them, huh? Interesting. They must have been exhausted from putting 63 on Illinois the week before. I don't know.
Well, Iowa's got a pretty good defense, and it's a tough place to play. I thought that game would be close, but
what did Ohio State? What was their score? Sorry, I think it was like 22
to 9. I think it was 24 to 9 or something like that.
24-6, I think. Yeah.
It was a tough game at first.
Did a pretty good job. I give it to Washington. They played
I
pretty well.
think we're all of us, okay, a little too judgmental.
Me?
If a team, one of the college teams plays a really bad game, one of the college powers, if it happens in the NFL, we could brush it off as one bad game, but they do it in college, especially early in the season. We start questioning, how good the team is, and we're willing to even discard them to a certain degree.
Well, I mean, to get in the college playoffs, you do have to have a certain amount of wins and losses. Whereas in pro football, you can get in with a 9-8 record, a 10-7 record, or an 8-9 record for that matter. So I mean, it's different aspects.
No, it is. No, case in point, the Ravens are 1-2 right now. The Chiefs, and we're questioning them. I mean, we're not questioning them. We know they have a good chance, to make a run at the Super Bowl. But Alabama's 4-1. But we asked, well, who did they beat? The win over Georgia yesterday was, mixed feelings on that. I mean, we kind of look at it a little bit differently. The point I wanted to make, Illinois had a terrible game last week against Indiana. Dreadful, awful. So all of a sudden we're thinking they're not as good as we thought they were. And we're willing to discard them to a degree. And then they bounced back with a nice win over USC yesterday. If it were the NFL, we would have looked at the Indiana game as one bad game, forget about it, and let's move forward with them. But because it happened on a college level, we kind of look at it, I think, a little differently.
I got to say, to be fair to all of us, that game, I mean, anybody would look at that game. I mean, that's who scores almost 70 points in the game. And it just looks like they just, not that they gave up, they were just outclassed in all facets of the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, ridiculous.
And they were a ranked team too. So, and they were ranked higher than Indiana, as a matter of fact. So when you look at that, it's like, And then they beat them as soundly as they did. It's like this week, the top 25 is going to be changing all over again.
Oh, there'll be some big movement.
Big movement.
Up and down this week, yes.
So on that note, we are going to move into the NFL. And we're just going to go by some records of last week. And let me tell you something, Keith, you're the guy. You went 11-4 last week. Everybody else on this panel went 8-7.
I didn't have 12. Oh,
Wait.
no.
I didn't go no 8-7. What are you talking about? Wait,
You went 8-7, man.
Let me just.
I wrote everything down.
He's sorry, Jack. You went 7-8. Sorry. Yes.
My fear of Sonia paid off last
Wait,
week.
I went 10-5. What are we talking about here?
What 10-5 did you go, Jack? Jack, you picked let's see, who did you lose?
Yeah,
I lost.
I lost.
You picked the Ravens, they lost.
Let's see. I did pick the Ravens, they lost.
He said, wait a second.
Then you picked
Go ahead.
hold on a minute. I got you.
Roll the tape.
You picked the Bengals, they lost.
I picked the Bengals, they lost. That's correct.
You picked the Texans, they lost.
Well, wait 1 second. I picked the Texans and they lost. Correct.
You picked the Packers, they lost.
Correct.
You picked the Broncos, they lost.
Wait 1 second. No, I didn't. I picked the Chargers.
You picked the Chargers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought you picked the Broncos, man. I think I asked you that too. Okay, so I will give you that one. Cardinals, you lost.
Wait. The Cardinals, I did lose. Correct.
Yeah. Let's
That's
see.
5. I didn't lose any others.
And what was the other? Oh yeah, you lost. Okay, 1. So
Man,
you lost what? 6. So you're not.
No,
in 5.
I
Okay, we'll
lost
give you
5.
that.
Well, 6.
No, you lost.
You
lost 6.
Wait.
Jack writes his down
I
on
went,
Monday.
yeah, I know.
I'll write them down too.
5 games. Those are the only ones
Well, Monday
I
morning,
lost.
it says.
I lost with the Ravens. I lost with the
3,
Cardinals. I lost
4,
with the Packers.
5.
I lost with the Texans, and I lost with the Bengals.
Only Jack would take 10 minutes of our show
But at least Mac was always off 1 game every week. You're off 2 games, Brian.
Mac's head is
This is even worse
exploding in
than
heaven.
Mac.
You know?
Oh my goodness. Mac is like, God, please let me down one time so I can just correct
I'm
this.
complimenting Mac now. I'm saying it was
So I'll
always
give you the
off.
Broncos. So you are 10-5. I'll give you the Broncos, but I'm pretty sure that you picked the Broncos. But anyway, I'll give you the Broncos. So you're 10-5.
We got to go to the
Fine,
tape.
Jack.
I have it marked here as far as picking the Cardinals. Is it possible I said the Broncos? It's always a possibility. I said it on the show.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Jack.
And why would I have said the Broncos? I'm curious too. Maybe I'll get back to the tape, but I got better things to do. I'd rather lose the Broncos game than to waste my time hearing what I had to say last week.
I like to
If
read
you want
my
to put it as a loss, you could put it as a loss.
I'm good with you, Jack.
last
I'm
week. I
not
like
even
to-
keeping records with the
I trust
standings
you,
or
buddy.
whatever, so it doesn't matter that much. Until
We're not
maybe we
playing
get
for
to the
money,
last
so we don't have to
week,
worry
then I'll
about
pay
that. So you know what I'm
attention.
saying? We're not playing for money, so it's not.
I do think James and I both had 16. I'd like to review both our sheets.
This is interesting stuff. Anyone watching this show, hearing the venting and
I could hear the click of the people leaving right here.
I can't.
Hey,
close
actually, we got
the
more
window.
people. Conflict brings interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It does.
So we're gonna go into the next week's pick, and I'm gonna make sure I get everybody's pick down correctly. Sorry, Jack. Anyway, so the first game is, of course, Pittsburgh and Minnesota in Dublin, Ireland.
Dublin.
Before I make picks, they just came out with the injury report for both teams. The biggest name on the Minnesota's injury report is Andrew Van Ginkel. He's not going to be playing. Steelers, Jalen Warren's not going to be playing. Alex Highsmith is not going to play, and Joey Porter Jr. is not playing. That's for the defense for Pittsburgh, basically, and running back, obviously. So, based on those intelligent reports, Keith, who you got?
These games are always a little bit dicey because of the travel and all that. Vikings are going to spend 10 days over there. They're going to for the first time ever, they're going to play 2 games in a row in Europe, which is kind of interesting. Listen, Carson Wentz is a better quarterback at this point than Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh defense has been disappointing. They played awful. This team was awful last week against the Patriots. They came away with a win, but they were not good. I like the Vikings in this game. Maybe handily.
Jack?
I think Keith and James are toxic when it comes to backup quarterback situations or quarterback situations. Now you're saying Carson Wentz, based on one game here, is better than Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
And James is talking about Daniel Jones being, he didn't use these words, but kind of inferring what a top-of-the-line quarterback that the Colts have, their franchise quarterback. Next, we're going to hear, let's sit down Brock Purdy from Mac Jones. And if Jaden Daniels struggles a little, why not put in Marcus Mariota? He looks so great as a backup, and he's got the experience. But
can we ask him to make a pick on this game or no?
Pick on the game. Minnesota should win the game. Pittsburgh doesn't have a very good team with all the injuries just mentioned. And then there's the X factor. They upset Aaron Rodgers. They should have got into Dublin Monday and taken Tuesday off because he wanted to sightsee. They didn't do that. They upset Rodgers, and they just got there 2 days before. They can't see the country. And, and Rodgers is in a ticked-off mood. So Minnesota 26, Pittsburgh 13.
So all that said,
all that to pick Minnesota, Jay.
All that to pick Minnesota. Oh, my goodness. All right. So I'm not going to even jump on. I can't even follow that, except that if all those players were playing that you mentioned that were injured, I still would pick Minnesota. I just think what I will say is you mentioned that we're toxic about talking about backup quarterbacks. Well, let's just say we have a little bit of evidence with Kevin O'Connell and what he did with your guy, Sam Darnold, which you mentioned.
I said he was going to do it. I said Darnold was going to have a big year before this.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're adding to my point here. I'm just saying that Carson Wentz in the same position can have some relative success, just like Sam Darnold had. So that being said, I think he's probably going to be the starter going forward the rest of the season. Regardless
because he failed to develop J.J. McCarthy, your quarterback guru, didn't develop J.J. McCarthy. His job was to develop the rookie quarterback.
A game and a half to get him developed. That was a lot of time.
But I think that there's a lot to be said about McCarthy. I don't know if he's the guy for that team. So let's just and these two guys that we're mentioning too, and Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz were first round draft picks too. So he's getting the best out of them from what they were supposed to be. And I think that's going to happen again with the Vikings this game. I just think I agree with Keith. The defense of the Steelers is disappointing, and I think that having a really good defense for Carson Wentz as well will help him get more opportunities to strike down the field. And he has two wide receivers. Addison is, if he's playing, he should be playing. I believe so. He has another weapon. So there you go.
So who you got, James?
The Vikings.
And I just want to give a shout out there to Linda. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda. I would have loved for you to say the Steelers, James, after all you said about the Vikings. It was so obvious you were picking them. And then he said, who do you have changed? You just said the Steelers. It's dry enough.
Vikings are 6-0 in international games, by the way. I saw that question from Brent. I just looked it up.
There you go, Brent. 6-0. Good job.
No, guys, just a quick little story yesterday that kind of, maybe this is something omen. I was at Kohl's shopping department store yesterday, and I'd like to look at the clearance rack, figuring maybe I'll get something with one of my teams, the Jets, the Yankees. They have this beautiful Minnesota Vikings sweatshirt. What on earth was it doing there? It was the only NFL team on the clearance rack marked all the way down. I mean, I couldn't buy it. I'm not a Viking fan. But what on earth was a Minnesota Viking sweatshirt doing that cold?
Some
We're
guy
the only NFL one non-local team.
Wow. That's
There's
interesting.
fans in every city.
Yeah.
Fans in every city.
It was next to 10,000 Jet jerseys that aren't selling either, probably. So
No, it's on the clearance
On
rack,
clearance.
the Vikings, they're marked down to $15. A really nice,
That's what he
Vikings
meant,
shirt.
Jack.
people were bringing them in, but in the boxes full of Jet jerseys.
I started getting it for Rick, who's a big Viking fan, but then I would have had to mail it and this, and the cost would have shot up. So sorry, Rick.
Oh yeah, Rick, because Jack can't afford that $1.75 to mail you that shirt.
I also like to shout out Michael, Rick, Jeremy, and Brent for joining us also in the comments. I picked the Vikings as well. The next game on the docket is Cleveland at Detroit. What do you got, Keith?
This is a no-brainer for me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but the quarterback situation is probably about to change in Cleveland like it is elsewhere in the league. I like the Lions here. Lions back on track the last couple weeks, and they should win easily here.
Jack?
Yeah, Lions should. Well, I agree with Keith. I mean, Lions should win by a few touchdowns, I would think. But Cleveland, look at my pick last week. I thought the Packers were going to win easy, and Cleveland upset them. And I think Cleveland's the only NFL team where the average fan is rooting for Joe Flacco to do poorly because of this drama with Shedeur Sanders. Even if they go to Dylan Gabriel next, Shedeur Sanders takes one step up on the pecking order. But Cleveland is so dysfunctional. If they bench Joe Flacco, they'll probably make him the number one backup and keep Shedeur in the third position. But Detroit should win in a rout, I would think.
Jeremy, congratulate you on your new grandbaby there, Keith.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Yeah, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. Exciting time.
So I'm going to go with Detroit here, but I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I just thought that that Cleveland's defense surprised me. I think with Jared Goff, he needs to be protected, and he'll carve you up. But if he's not protected, if you can get to him, he gets a little uncomfortable. He gets rattled. I just think that yes, Monkey, we know. We haven't gotten to that game yet, sir. He's clamoring. He couldn't wait. So I would say that I like Detroit to win this game. I definitely like them to win this game, and I think they should use Knuckles and Sonic to run the ball and control the clock. So they like they did last game against the Ravens. If they do this now today, they win the game. I just think that, but don't put Jared Goff in a position to be throwing the ball 40 times.
Browns defense would have to win this game for them today. It's the only way they can.
But could you imagine if the Browns upset the Lions? That means back-to-back, they would have beaten the Packers when some people were considering the Packers the best team in the NFL. And then they would have beaten the Lions, who have it all together now. I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, we have to look at Cleveland a different way if they could win today.
Jack, stop, okay? Because that ain't going to happen, brother. Everybody's talking about how, Cleveland beat Green Bay, but I'm telling you, this is what we thought who Green Bay was, is who they are, okay?
Easy, Dennis. Easy.
Remember, think about this too. The game before, they played the Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium, and they got beat 41-17. And they had pretty good defense against Baltimore in that game, but they still got beat 41-17. So that's why I'm sticking with the score, double-digit score for myself, of course. But anyway,
of course.
All right. Now we can talk about this game now. The Saints at the Bills. Who you got, Keith?
Bills. I don't know. Should I say more, James? I mean, what am I going to say? The Bills are maybe the best.
What else can you say? Yes.
Nothing else to say. I mean, they're going on the road. I mean, there's no I can't even give you one reason I can say there could be an upset here. I can't think of one. Bills, easy. Sorry, James.
No, it's okay.
What you got, Jack?
You could give me there are 32 teams in the NFL. Give me the other 31, and they're all going to beat the Saints. I mean, the Saints are just terrible. That's one game. The same game, you don't have to strain your brain. They'll probably win like 2 games before the year's over. They'll probably win one game where they actually play well, and then they'll win another sloppy game. Saints are bad, and I'm not second guessing it.
Ready for this.
I said it before the season they were going to go 2-15.
And the crazy thing is, his team is not a world-beating team at all, but he has no problems with definitely going hard. Yeah, like on the Saints for sure.
But
that's okay.
How can you actually say there's nothing to say about this game, but then talk about it for
I mean, let's say the Bills played their worst game and the Saints played their best game. It's at Buffalo. At the best the Saints could hope for is to lose a game like 20-16. That's the best. Lose by a few points. And then we'll hear Kellen Moore saying, I hope we could build on this. This is a moral victory, blah, blah, blah. The Saints have to rebuild. And James can answer this question better than I can. Did they go into this year rebuilding? I get the feeling they weren't rebuilding this year. They actually thought they had something going for them that they could build on as opposed to rebuilding. Now they need a complete rebuild, and it should start now if possible.
They didn't come out and say that they were. I mean, you picked the Bills, but
yeah,
they didn't come out and say. Like you said, 31 teams. You picked 31 teams, so we already know.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Right.
The Jets are going to win games. No, Jets are going to win games before the year's over. The Jets are going to play about 500 the rest of the way, and we're going to hear the nonsense about how much better they were playing as the year went along. But the Jets won't be anywhere near the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. So,
to answer your question, yes, they are in the rebuild this year. It's obvious. Even if they didn't say it, they threw out a few nuggets and rabbit Easter eggs out there for you. Particularly when they hired the coach, the GM said it not verbatim, paraphrasing that we're going to give him all the time he needs. It could be 4 or 5 years and be patient with him. They let you know right there that they're rebuilding, that just from that statement alone. And so if there's anybody out there like Saints fans or anyone who thinks that they had an opportunity for anything, I knew better. I thought maybe they could probably win 10 games. And you said that there are 31 teams, but the 2 teams that they played competitively against were the Cardinals and the 49ers. And those teams are really decent teams. And so they played very competitive. They just got blown out early just for some bad luck and some bad play and different things. I mean, and against the Seattle Seahawks. And so I think they're probably going to be a little bit competitive. They got their full offensive line back this game. And so that should at least help Spencer Rattler continue to progress. But I don't think they're going to win this game. With that being said, I think the Bills are going to win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like Seattle win, but I think they will win. And I don't know if it'll be by 17.
Oliver and Matt Milano are out for this game as well. So basically, when Monkey was trying to be funny about putting the practice squad in there, they're pretty much going to have a practice squad player in there anyway. So yeah, and just to catch up to everybody on this, the Lions are 9.5-point favorites. The Vikings are 2.5-point favorites, and the Buffalo Bills are 14.5-point favorites against Sorry James, man.
They were 16.5, so I'm with the, it's looking up in the Saints' favor. Going down 2 points.
And I also picked the Bills. So yeah, that's a consignment there. Okay, so next 1 o'clock game we have is the Washington Commanders at the Atlanta Falcons. Go ahead, Keith.
This is a game that flummoxes me a little bit. Marcus Mariota is starting for the second week. He played well last week, but McLaren's out as well. Atlanta's not playing well. Obviously, last week they played horrendously against Carolina. Michael Penix, I keep warning people about Michael Penix, and I mean, he got pulled. It was 30-0, so I can't really take credit and say I said Cousins would play and it wouldn't be due to injury this year. I still think Michael Penix is not the answer there, and Cousins is going to get a chance. I don't think it's going to come yet today. I like Washington to somehow find a way to win this game defensively. Something's going to happen weird here. I like Washington.
All right.
Tough game to pick, though, for me.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, and Krosky Merritt, or Bill, as they call him, he's also questionable with a knee on Washington. So,
Jack, what are you waiting on, man?
Yeah, well, it's a lingering thought that could we have overrated Washington a little bit based on what they did last year? Just a thought. I'm not sure because Jaden Daniels was sensational and so on, and Jaden Daniels won't be in today. Kirk Cousins is awful at this stage of his career. You go to Kirk Cousins, it's like you're spending money on things you don't want or don't need because you have that money and you're going to lose it otherwise. I mean, that's what playing Kirk Cousins is. But he did get my attention. He said at the beginning of the year that Michael Penix he thought very little of. And I watched Michael Penix a little more carefully than I would have otherwise, and I saw him make some awful throws against Tampa Bay in the opener. Yeah. Awful throws were good throws, could have, brought the Falcons back to victory in that game. And last week he was absolutely dreadful. So I think Michael Penix might be on probation this game. Okay, I'm curious how he's going to perform. If he comes up flat after last week, it's wow. And once they put Kirk Cousins in and they bench Michael Penix, that tells you the Falcons, he's not their quarterback of the future, Penix. The Falcons are never going to say such. They're going to say, oh, he's going to take a step back, but he's our guy of the future. But there's too much doubt there. If he plays absolutely awful this early in the season where they have to bench him, with that said, the Commanders should win this game because they're better, than the Falcons. They should beat them by a couple of touchdowns in Atlanta.
Aren't you the guy that just said that we already, when teams like get beat handily, like Indiana beat Illinois, we just throw them into the wolves? So you're going to throw Michael Penix away for the one game you're talking about?
College. I said we look at it differently in college than we do in the NFL. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. But the point is,
I don't think the team
pointed it out. If I'm running a team and Keith is my head scout and he says this guy is awful, I'm going to look at him a little more carefully. And Michael Penix has lived up to what Keith thought he is so far this season. Keith was so low on Michael Penix, and Michael Penix has been bad, point blank bad, the way Keith predicted. Keith doesn't wish anything bad upon Michael Penix. He just evaluated him as a quarterback, and so far Keith has been spot on.
I love the kid.
No, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, he was a great college quarterback, but I'm gonna say this. I think them picking him at what it was 8th or 9th overall. What was he? Yeah, they're not gonna just drop him like that. The Falcons are gonna be upset from losing to a division rival and laying a goose egg. They have a depth. They have first rounders on every position on the offense. They're going to figure out a way. First of all, you got to run Bijan Robinson. Commanders have no run defense. You got to give him the ball. That's your star. Give him the ball and force it down the throat. And Tyler Algier is no slouch himself. So run the ball. Save your young quarterback. Give him some room to be able to throw the ball, maybe with some play action. I think they're going to win this game. They're going to do it at home. They're at home. So there's no way they're going to lose to the Commanders without a Jaden Daniels and without a Terry McLaurin. I think they come down there. I think the coach comes back, visiting the team that he used to coach, but without the weapons that he needs. I mean, I would give Mariota the opportunity to win because he's done it. But without the main guy to throw the ball to, that's going to be tough. And I think there's some holes in that Commanders defense. I just think that the Falcons win this game at home.
That defense is giving up like the second or third least points in a conference, by the way. It's not like that defense is terrible.
And like Rick just said, he also played against a very formidable defense, and they dominated them. And he played very well against them. I just think, again, you got a guy, he's probably streaky, and you have to also look at some other factors too. Maybe question some of the play calling too, and also question the offensive line and whether or not they can pass block. And so there's a lot of things there. I just think Penix is getting a bit of a bad rep. I think we got to take time with him. He's nowhere near in the situation like Anthony Richardson. Not even that close to that. I wouldn't throw him in that boat. He didn't. Now, did he play completely well against like the Panthers? No, he threw some bad throws. Some of them, I agree. But he throws.
His accuracy was the thing that really, and accuracy is so important in the NFL today. That's what teams rely on, hitting guys in stride and whatnot. He does not do that. He didn't do it in college. He threw the ball up, and he had great receivers to go catch the ball. He's a very good college quarterback. He's better than Richardson. I will give you that. We're not setting the bar very high, though.
So, Jack, you had Commanders, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, I am picking the Falcons as well. Falcons are favored 2.5. I just think I think James is right. I think the Falcons kind of got embarrassed by Carolina, and they're going to be pretty PO'd coming into this game and playing at home in front of the crowd that they disappointed last week. Or they do. Their fans are just like PO'd too. So they probably want to get back on the right track. I think the Commanders are a little bit of fun. And then you got your running back right now that's taking over for the Redskins. He's not 100%. So I just think that this is a prime Atlanta victory right here. All right. Oh, we got a big game here. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Philadelphia is favored by 3.5. Who you got, Keith?
It feels like the Eagles have a big game every single week, don't they? Good grief. They play a lot of good teams, and they find ways to win. They should not have won that game last week, and they find ways to win, but good teams, that's what they do. Tampa's banged up still a bit, obviously, but this is a team that's playing with a chip on his shoulder that seems to come from their quarterback, who I just love his attitude. I love the way he commands his team, and he's another guy who just finds a way to get it done. And I think Tampa Bay will upset the Eagles at home today, and I'll take the Buccaneers.
Okay. Jack?
Tampa Bay will upset the Philadelphia Eagles, but it'll be in the NFC Championship game at Philadelphia. They're not going to do it at Tampa Bay today. Evans is out. Godwin is out. Mayfield doesn't have, his weapons. I know Tampa Bay, the way they won their first 3 games, they're 3-0. They could be 0-3 for all we know. But the point is they did come back, and Baker Mayfield is showing us that maybe we should talk about him as a top 10 quarterback in the league. Not a top 5, but a top 10 finally.
Fair.
I mean, he's a playmaker. He makes things happen. But without Godwin and Evans, I just don't see it. And the Eagles are very solid, and they look like they're the one NFC team that's headed for the best record in the NFC. And if they come undone, it's going to have to be in the playoffs. And also, Philadelphia might have a little chip on their shoulder because they have a lot of players that are carried over from when they lost to Tampa Bay in the playoff game the year before last at Tampa Bay. So that might motivate them a little bit. But I think the Eagles win by more than a touchdown, something like 24-13.
Michael, I think Michael had the comment there I'm sorry, James. When you win games the way Tampa has been winning them, it gives you a lot of extra confidence that you're not out of games and you can find a way to win with your weapons hurt and whatnot. I like that. And I just feel like the Eagles, they're finding ways to win too, but they just look like they're looking for a loss. So that's, again,
I agree with you, Keith, that the Eagles are looking for a loss. I just don't see it here because the deficit for the wide receiver thing for the Tampa Bay Bucs, it's just really tough. And Mike Evans, as old as he is, he's still a guy that can give you 1,000 yards a season, 13 tied Jerry Rice, I believe. Incredible dude, man. But him being out is a big loss. Don't get me wrong. The rookie out of OSU, Ohio State, is doing his thing, but he's by himself. And to rely on the running back, they have a great running game. I think the second-year running back, what's the kid's name? I can't think of it.
Irving.
Irving, yeah, Bucky Irving, yeah. He could be a great receiver out of the backfield as well, and they're probably gonna have to utilize him as well in his game.
Agreed.
But the Eagles have a really decent defense, and I just think it's going to be tough to run up against them with those big guys in the middle, and not having your wide receivers is going to be really tough. So I just think the Eagles probably win here, and it probably depend on their running backs and their running game and the touch push, where nobody likes anymore. But I think the touch push might have a hard time because they who did the kid that was 450 pounds they brought back? Is he playing today?
I don't know that he's active.
I don't know if he's active either. I haven't heard anything since then bringing him back. I thought they were going to put him in that game just especially for the tush push because he's a big guy, and it's hard to move. And he got Vita Vea in the middle too.
Correct.
Them huge guys.
He's always active. He's always active. He just maybe at the buffet outside of football.
There's one thing I didn't mention that's an intangible that we shouldn't take lightly in the game, the weather. It's going to be about 90 degrees, and Nick Sirianni had his team come there a day earlier, and Baker Mayfield laughed it off. You can't get used to the weather with one extra day here. So mentally, that could be on their mind. The Eagles could be traveling to Tampa Bay. Oh, darn it, we're going to have to play in this heat. And that might be an attitude thing. Let's just get through the darn game. So you never know how it plays out with the weather. If it's close to 90, humid, in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are used to it living there, how that might factor in.
Well, my pick is the Eagles. I feel
like the Eagles. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this was a very difficult one for me to pick. And I was, I'm always coming for Tampa Bay because it's in Tampa Bay. Philadelphia has no good luck in beating Tampa Bay in the last few years. So whether it's in the playoffs or it's in a regular season, Tampa Bay has their number. However, that was with Mike Evans and with their offensive line intact. Mike Evans isn't playing, Gadecki's not playing, and their guard Maurer is not playing. Those are two starting offensive linemen on that offensive line. And against that Philadelphia defensive line, that's a key point right there. I think that as much as Bucky Irvin is a very good running back, he's going to hard to find some lanes to run in. And once you do that, that probably brings down your offense a little bit with Baker, because then he's going to have to start finding people to throw to. And again, the offensive line has to hold on that as well, pass offense. So at the same time, I'm going to pick the Eagles. I'm not going to be surprised the Bucs win, but I'm going to pick the Eagles just on those variables. All right. Okay, next game. Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots. There you go, Keith. We always get to these games with the New England Patriots just as you're about to go. So that works out.
So, anyway, just so you guys know, I'll have to stop my stream so I can start my that sounds a little weird at my age, doesn't it? But sorry. Old people joke. I'll have to stop just so I can start my show after this. But Patriots, listen, they just have to take care of the football. They outplayed the Steelers last week everywhere except on the scoreboard, and that's the only place that it matters. You got to clean it up. Drake May's getting better every single week if you take away the turnovers. They get a pass rush on Bryce Young. I think that's going to be important today, and they get Christian Gonzalez back today, which I think is huge for that secondary. I'm guessing it wasn't a lot of fun in practice this week for the Patriots after all those turnovers. By the end of the week, Ramondre Stevenson was saying he had a great week. So did Mike Vrabel. He said he wasn't going to lessen his workload. This is a guy who could be one of the top backs in the league if he could just hold on to the football. Every time he seems to get going, he fumbles a couple of big plays, and now it's getting contagious because guys who don't fumble are fumbling. So with all that said, sorry, grudge match with Sonia. Patriots win this game. Maybe a close game, but I think they get the win to even their record and continue to chase those Buffalo Bills.
There's no line on this game either, by the way.
Yeah, really? I wonder why. Who's out for Carolina?
The Patriots are going nowhere this year. Forget it. Next year they'll be okay. Great, we'll have it together. I said it before the season. They're going nowhere. You're looking at a 6-11 type team. I said it before the year. I don't think they beat the Panthers today, and I think the Panthers at least ascending a bit. You know, they're not contenders, but they're ascending. Their defense, you know, is getting it together, even though they weren't good in the preseason. And Bryce Young, he played mistake-free last week. You know, he should be okay. And these are two teams that you could argue might be headed in the right direction, the Patriots, at least next year. I think the Panthers this year are going to get better as the year goes along. The Patriots, they're going to be iffy. So I wouldn't get your hopes up. They're not contending for playoff position, the Patriots.
Well, I'm not. They're not the Jets. I agree, but you know.
When all is said and done, the Jets will finish ahead of the Patriots this year.
I'm gonna have to make a little.
I'll make it quick. I know Keith got to go. I'm just gonna say the Patriots. Sorry, Sonia. I'm not picking the Panthers because I got to see them do it twice in a row, and I just think the Patriots have a little bit more edge in this game at home. So a very close game, but I got the Patriots.
I too have the Patriots because I don't believe in the Panthers yet. Until they can give me something solid, then I can believe in them. But I don't believe in them right now. Atlanta, to me, was just a farce. I mean, not a farce, but it was just one of those bumps in the road that Atlanta had. So I think Atlanta's going to bounce back big against the Redskins, and I just think the Patriots. The 5 turnovers they had could have been prevented, and they could have won that game because Steelers not playing their best football right now. So. Yeah.
One last prediction before I run that I will say the Panthers score first, and it is not even 15 seconds later I get a text from Sonia.
We all will. We all will.
Everybody will, yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Have a good one, Keith.
Bye, guys.
All right. So we're going to get into the 4:00 games. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco's favored by 3.5. What you got, Jack?
Yeah, why isn't James singing the virtues of Mac Jones? He's speaking about the other Jones, Daniel Jones, but Mac Jones is basically doing the same thing Daniel Jones is doing it, and he's working with less. Okay, the 49ers aren't a very good team, yet they found ways to go 3-0, winning games. I think they do come undone again. I know they're at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville isn't very good. I think Jacksonville wins this game like on a squeaker, 21-20. I mean, I don't look at either team as being a playoff team, but I like Jacksonville in this spot. I think the Niners have overachieved. Brock Purdy's back. He's going to be starting today, supposedly. Yeah, but the way they led up to this, you have some doubts whether Purdy's going to start or just be available to play. But they've indicated that he's ready, so he's the start. And if Purdy struggles, please, I don't want to hear anything that Mac Jones should be in there.
Who do you pick? You pick the 49ers?
I like Jacksonville to beat the Niners.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious? Okay, so I am going to sing the praises. So I did not sing the praises of Mac Jones because he played nothing prior to the game of the Saints, and the game after that, he didn't show you anything. So why should I show him any praise? Now I will give him the fact that he stepped in. He did what a backup should do. You're supposed to go in and not lose the game, or at least play to win, but don't throw any interceptions. Protect the ball. He did that, and not only did that, he threw 3 touchdowns against the Saints. And then when he played this previous game, I forgot exactly who they played. But he did okay. Purdy is definitely he's back, and I think the 49ers are glad of that. And so that's just where that's at. But I'm going to go with the 49ers here as well. I'm just not sold on Trevor Lawrence, and they're putting help around him and everything else. And Travis Etienne, he's a good running back, but is he sustainable for a whole season? Can he stay injury free? I'm just not sold on that either. And I think they're going up against a very good defense in the 49ers. Fred Warner is probably going to stop that run game. And you got to depend on Brian Thomas Jr. to get the ball. And we don't know what's going on with Travis Hunter. What are they use? How are they utilizing him? How are they going to? I mean, are they going to give him 80% at wide receiver, 20% at DB, vice versa? We don't know, and I think that's not what you're going to do against the 49ers defense in San Francisco. I got the 49ers, and I'm going to agree with Monkey. I got them by 10.
I think that they did come out earlier this week. The Jacksonville Jaguar staff came out this week. The head coach, Cohen, he said that they're going to go back to what they were doing before with Hunter and make him a receiver and just playing him in certain packages on defense. They're going to go back to that formula again. Just remember also Bosa is out for the rest of the season for San Francisco, so that's an element of their defense they're going to be missing. However, in saying that, and I thought the Niners were just going to be putrid this year, and they're obviously showing me up. I think it still can happen though, because they're shaky right now. They're still a shaky team. Their defense is kind of winning them games. But I am going to take them over Jacksonville. I think until Jacksonville wins a meaningful game, and Houston's not a meaningful game. Sorry. They win a game that is a meaningful, then I'll pick with them. But I can't pick with them right now. With San Francisco playing the way they are, I got to go with San Francisco on that one. All right. I did miss a 1 o'clock game. Sorry, Charger and Giant fans. The LA Chargers will be at the New York Giants at 1 o'clock. Favorite line is the Chargers by 6.5. Jack, who do you got?
I know this could be a trap game for the Chargers. The Giants are good enough to actually beat the Chargers, even though the Chargers right now are one of the best teams in the NFL. I get all that. Well, the Chargers are right now one of the best teams in the NFL.
No, you laid it out by saying the Giants are good enough to beat the Chargers.
Yeah, off a given game. In the NFL, most teams can beat, and one team can beat any other team on a given Sunday for the most part. Okay, and the Giants have a good enough defense. They really have an elite pass rush. If the game plan, if they could stop the Chargers running game and Justin Herbert is forced to pass with their pass rush, you talk about Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Thibodeau. I mean, it doesn't get better than that if those guys could tee off, on the quarterback. But with that said, Chargers should win. Jim Harbaugh should have him ready. But, something Jim Jeffcoat said when he used to do the podcast with Mac and myself that always stuck out in my mind. And he was a player, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Teams that got to travel across the country, he usually picks against. They're at a major disadvantage. We talked about the Heat before, and Tampa Bay is an intangible. They're traveling from LA to New York. That's a disadvantage. And I think with the Giants, I don't think it revolves around winning or losing today. It revolves around how Jackson Dart's going to do. I think if the Giants lose the game and Jackson Dart plays well, the people leaving Giants Stadium are going to be leaving smiling, even though they lost the game. Oh, we got our quarterback of the future. I think that's what it comes down to. I think it would mean more to Giant fans losing 34-24 and Jackson Dart playing well than winning 7-6. That's just my thought. But the Chargers are just better. They should win like something like 27-16.
I thought there was no moral victories, Jack.
No moral victories to me, there's not. But in rare cases, when you have a franchise quarterback and he has his first game, and if he plays like a star, lights out, and your team loses, you're excited. I get all that. In reality, there are no moral victories unless you're absolutely terrible, and then you have a shining light come out of nowhere and they do something great. And no moral victories for my Jets, for example. They could play well the rest of the year with Aaron Glenn, have a losing record, and I don't want to hear how much better they played, so on. But in this rare case with Jackson Dart, if he plays a sensational game and he looks like he's their quarterback of the future, Giants can lose, and their fan base is going to be happy, and deservedly so if that scenario occurred.
Okay, James, what you got?
Yeah, the Giants. They look. I picked them last week, Miss Linda. I know you if you're watching to be my upset special, and they were. I was just upset with them. There was nothing else special about that game. Uh, 22-9. Russell Wilson, he got shut down, and they didn't have anything for them. And so that said, another team, and again, I think that Kansas City is still regressing. So I that's why I was giving them an opportunity to win that game, even if it was in Kansas City. I just thought that they would have an opportunity to win, but they did not. And I'm not going to pick them against another really good team. I think a team that's better than Kansas City, even if they are traveling across the United States to come play them from Pacific to Atlantic. I still think the Chargers are good enough to play. That offense is good enough to play against that defense. You got a resurgence of Justin Herbert. You got a really good running game. And although you lost Harris for the season, but the rookie, Omarion Hampton is playing well. And you have the receiver who was looking like he was going to be a first round bust in Quentin Johnston. He's playing well, and Lad McConkey and Keenan Allen. So they got their hands full with that secondary. So even if they have a pass rush, it only takes about 2 to 3 seconds to get the ball out of your hands to one of those guys. And so I just don't think they're going to have enough of them. And I think that the Chargers are going to win this game by maybe 10, 15 points. And so it's going to be tough. And I like the Giants defense. I like what they've done. And in regards to the rookie, they're gonna give him some stuff. The Chargers defense is really good as well. And so they're going to give him some looks that's going to make him uncomfortable. But I want to see the rookie succeed. I just think that yes, Mr. Leslie. Yes. I think that it's going to be a tough game for the Giants, and I don't think they're going to win this game. And I think the rookie will be successful. It just won't be in this game.
Can I just say this? This is very interesting. They could have waited, Brian DeBal, one more week to start Jackson Dart. And I don't mean to be funny because they play the New Orleans Saints next week. And you want him to be successful off the bat. And his chances of being successful would be greater against the Saints than it would against the Chargers. This shows you that DeBal is really trying to save the season. Not just Jackson Dart's development. So he's maybe so down on Russell Wilson's performance that Dart maybe gives him the best chance of winning. It's just not just a move for the future. So obviously he might feel that Dart is ready. It's not just a question of developing, that he could actually win games and be really good, right now.
He's not just trying to save the season. He's trying to save his job. And that's his guy. I think he worked with Josh Allen, and Jackson Dart fits the mold of a Josh Allen. So I could see, and if they show some levels of success this season, Daboll will probably keep his job for maybe one more season to get an opportunity to work with this kid and have a better season, because they have a good defense. So you got to add some more pieces to your offense, and you got to get that offensive line better. That's the key right there. I don't care who you are behind that center. If that offensive line is not holding up, you're in trouble.
But keep in mind with DeBal that Daniel Jones was his quarterback. And if Daniel Jones has a big year, can you imagine the Colts win the Super Bowl? It would be 2 years in a row. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, the Giants move on from them.
Yeah, we kind of had this question yesterday, Damien, on a debate show. I think
yes, to answer your question, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
He's put up enough evidence with his.
When we talk about guys playing themselves out of the Hall of Fame, if a player has 10 outstanding years and then he has 7 miserable years, shouldn't we count the whole picture? That's I guess a debate if we had a little time later. But is there such a thing as playing your way out of the Hall of Fame?
I mean, if you have already established numbers, there's no such thing as playing your that you're right. That's a good debate question. I picked the Chargers as well. Keenan Allen, dude, I can't tell you how much that's helped that offense. And Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson's a whole different player now. And Keenan Allen came in there and just revived that offense. And it's going to help Omarion, run the ball better. The offensive line is playing pretty stout. The defense, they're not going to have Khalil Mack in there for a couple of more games, but they're going to be out there balling too. I don't see a regression from them. Dart, I pray for you, brother. I hope that you have a good game. I hope that you don't get killed behind that crappy offensive line you got to play against. Play on. Just I hope you have a good game. I really do. But I don't think they're going to win this game. All right. So then we have the Indianapolis Colts going to the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are favored by 3.5. Jack, who you got?
Yeah, the way the Rams lost to the Eagles, 19-point lead. They were about to get a little measure of revenge for losing in the playoffs to them. They're back in Philadelphia, and they lose the game. They find a way to lose the game. Special teams haunted them at the end of the game with the blocked kick. And if Indianapolis can beat the Rams, I know the Rams are at home, but there's not much of a home field advantage, for LA at LA. But there'd be a home field advantage had they been playing at Indianapolis for the Colts. And Daniel Jones plays very well. He makes a belief out of me. Now, I think Daniel Jones could be okay going forward, and he might, and I have an open mind to him being the Colt quarterback of the future, perhaps. But he's on trial. He's auditioning. He's got to have a second, third, fourth edition. And I don't want James to come back to me next week after the Colts lose 27-20. Oh, Daniel Jones played well, and James will take out the stat line. Oh, he hit 16 of 22 passes for 224 yards, no turnovers. Did he make plays? They lose to the Rams. Show me don't come back to me and tell me what Daniel Jones did. Show me you can be a difference maker. If the Colts beat this good LA Ram team, and the Rams have a good team, a legitimately good team, and Daniel Jones plays really well, then come back to me and I'm going to have to reevaluate. But I don't want to hear if they lose the game. Jonathan Taylor ran for 173 yards. They lost valiantly. They had the ball on the Rams 3-yard line in the closing seconds. They just barely missed tying it up. None of that stuff, please, next week. Rams should win the game, but it's going to be a tough game, something like 27-20. And Daniel Jones, I don't think is going to play poorly. Let me be blunt. I think he might play okay. I think he'll play adequately this game. But win this game, Daniel Jones. Show me something special, and then I'm maybe going to start reevaluating a little from my end.
Well, if he has to do 12 auditions, I wouldn't want to. If I'm him, I don't want to work for you. I wouldn't want to come if I got to do 12 auditions. I'm showing you what I've done thus far in my evidence. I'm leading the league in passing yards. So my evidence, the proof is in the pudding right now. So right there, I should show you that.
James with the Giants, he had only one good year. Give me a break.
Okay. What you mentioned, Sam Darnold was going to be the guy before he even played a down in Minnesota, and so he did that. So you can't just say. And he had crappy seasons with the Jets and Carolina.
Sam
so
Darnold
you can't.
had great weapons at Minnesota too. Let's be honest about it.
Okay, this guy has great weapons in Indianapolis. The Colts are legit, and in Indiana Jones, he's not going to turn the ball over 3 times, monkey. I think you don't. I mean, he's been throwing legit intermediate throws, and he's been throwing legit intermediate throws, and he's been on point. And so, and he has a great running game. He has what he did not have in New York. And so I thought he was overdrafted. I still think he was overdrafted at 6 overall with New York. But with that being said, that's in the back rearview mirror. He's doing well. And I got this as my upset special. I think they're going to win this game. It's going to be a close one, but I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think both teams will probably be over 30. I just think that you can't say that this guy but they had no offensive line, Monkey. They neither one could do anything. I mean, so it wasn't great, and they still don't have an offensive line. And both players are being successful once they left that team. So, and he's got Jonathan Taylor now, along with Adonai Mitchell. All these other guys. I mean, at wide receiver, Josh Downs. Alec Pierce. I mean, it's just and Michael Pittman Jr. Man, and the tight end Tyler Warren. It's going to be too many weapons, or somebody's going to be open, and somebody's going to get the ball. I just don't think that. I don't think the defense for Indianapolis has enough to stop their offense as well, but I think they have enough to win this game. And so I got them maybe by 3.
For the Colts. Do you agree this is a statement game for the Colts? Even though they're
without a doubt, it would be the best team that they've beaten. Yes.
They win this game, they're 4-0. And we all have to take notice now. Wow, 4-0, you beat a really good Ram team, so it's a statement game.
And Monkey, they beat the Broncos, so I mean, not bad. The Broncos defense is supposed to be. I mean, they seem to be falling off.
Altogether,
the
the teams that they played, they're 1-8. So
yeah,
let's say beat the Rams, then that's a statement game. Then we can think about them legitimately.
And that's why I said this is my upset. This is my upset special.
Okay, I got you.
You're picking the Colts.
The Colts, absolutely.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, you mentioned Alex Pierce, but he's out with this in this game because he has a concussion. He didn't make his concussion protocol. Also, Kenny Moore is out with the Achilles. Remember, he went out. He's not going to be back for the rest of the season, I don't think. That's a blow on their defense, and that's Indianapolis blow. Now, on the other flip side, we have Adams and Higbee that are questionable for the Rams. So we'll see what happens then. And of course, Stafford and his back problems. But I have to pick the Rams just because of what the Colts have gone through. I know I love Indiana Jones. He's playing really good at a high level, but let me see what he can do against some competition that's better than those teams. If he can do that, I'll start, I have no problem picking them over other teams. But right now I can't do it because the Rams, they won that. They basically won that Philadelphia game. If it wasn't for their stupid special teams that can't learn how to kick a ball and not get it blocked, ridiculous. But anyway, and it wasn't Stafford. Stafford brought them both down there both times to get those points so they can go ahead and take a lead. But they failed.
An L is still an L.
An L. You got it.
Yes. And what I'm gonna tell you, Jack. I'll see you tomorrow morning on your show, and I'll hit you up either way, win or lose. But if the Indianapolis Colts win, be prepared, sir. It's coming. I'm gonna give you the business.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that sentiment too. I think we're just waiting for the Indianapolis if they can beat.
Well, it's a statement game if they win. If they win, we maybe have to look at the Colts as a legitimate AFC power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll give them kudos to the end of the day because I
think the main thing is it's offensively. They're a power. I don't trust their defense, and so by them getting to if they get to the playoffs, that's where they'll have problems. But all the regular season,
wait a minute,
especially
their defense was good though.
No, I said no. I didn't say that at all. I said their offense is good. I said that's why I said it's gonna be a high scoring game. Because I just don't think that. Yeah, I just think that. Go ahead. I think that Indianapolis offensively, I like their offense, and they can put up enough points to win games, and they're in the AFC South. So they have no problems getting to the playoffs. I don't think, because the rest of the teams in the AFC South are cupcake.
Yeah,
And that's just
they're pretty much bad. Yeah.
I just
Go
think
ahead, Jack.
Jonathan Taylor is the one that should be getting the accolades right now, because I think
without a doubt.
he means more to the Colts as a running back than maybe any single running back, with the possible exception of Saquon Barkley, means to their team.
Well, I'm going to put him in the same breath as an Emmitt Smith on their offense, on the Dallas Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
When they went to their second Super Bowl, the first couple of games they lost because they did not have Emmitt Smith in the game. So if Jonathan Taylor were to go down, I think it would be a travesty for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's not get that twisted. So, but with that said, he's the engine that allows their that offense to run. So yes, without a doubt.
Yeah, he's playing really well. He's playing at a high level right now. Taylor is, and people he's really flying under the radar. I don't think too many people are talking about him right now, and he's really flying under the radar. He's really doing a pretty good job with Indianapolis. So that's the other intangible that we have to look at, not just Daniel Jones. The Bears are at the Raiders. The Raiders are favored by 1.5. I don't even know how that's possible. Who do you got, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Williams played well last week. It's important he keeps it going. And if the Bears are going to be a playoff contender, they obviously have to win this game. It's obvious now the Raiders are the odd man out in the AFC West. At the beginning of the year, we thought, this might be a much better Raider team, personnel moves, this and that. But we couldn't figure out who was going to be the weak link, because you had the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and if the Raiders were going to be much better, who's the weak link? It's apparent it's going to be the Raiders. And they're not very good. And Pete Carroll, high-profile coach at this stage, is he a power coach along the lines of a Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton in that division, Andy Reid? I mean, he might be the fourth best coach, Pete Carroll, in that division, and he's going to be a future Hall of Fame. Is there such a thing as a coach playing himself or coaching himself out of the Hall of Fame? We talk about his old quarterback, Russell Wilson. What about Carroll? I think the Bears, with Ben Johnson, keep it going. They win something like at Las Vegas 27-21. I think the Bears are just a little better team, and I think the Bears are going to ascend. They're not going to descend the rest of the year.
So you got the Bears, you said?
The Bears, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Bears.
Tough game, close game.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think Caleb Williams had a really good game last week, and I think they look to continue that. I like Ben Johnson as their head coach. I think if they can get some of the kinks out of that offense and get the best out of those players, you got great wide receivers. You got two great tight ends, Cole Kmet and Loveland. I just think that maybe the missing link is probably the running back. I'm not a huge fan of Swift, DeAndre Swift. He can be a little streaky. I think they need to draft a running back next year or you trade for one to add into their mix in their offense, and then continue to build with their offensive line. But with that being said, I'm more disappointed, like you, Jack, with the Raiders. I had some high hopes for them. Ashton Genty being taken, what was he, third overall?
I think
six overall. He just hasn't been looking good, man. I'm going to give him time, because we can attribute this to a lot of things. It could be the offensive line, but again, I'm going to have to make sure to put this out there that this is a guy that did not show himself to be any greatness in the combine. That means a lot when you're supposed to be highly touted as a running back and taken. And I put him in this. I thought when I looked at him run, I saw Emmitt Smith. I saw, if you have a great offensive line, this dude could play great. I mean, when I saw him in college, he had the same speed, power, the explosion. I just don't see that with the team in the NFL. The game looks faster than him. It looks a lot faster than him. And that scares me and alarms me. And I don't think they have enough weapons on the outside besides Brock Bowers and maybe Jacoby Myers if he comes and shows up. I'm not solid on him. So I like the Bears in this game. Even though the Bears defense, I'm gonna put this out. Maybe he gets 100 yards against the Bears defense because the Bears defense looked pretty bad too. So yeah, I still think I take the Bears in this game. Maybe about 7 points.
My feelings are the same as yours with Genty. I was high on him. And it's only 3 games, but I'm suddenly concerned. I mean, maybe we just overrated him point blank, based on what he did at college. And we'll see. It's only 3 games, but I don't like the body of work so far.
And I'll say this before you go, B. I picked Omarion Hampton as the best back coming out of college over him, and just because of the level of competition. And I thought that Penn State exposed him a little bit when he played against them in the playoffs, as in Genty. So yeah, it looks to be showing itself. But again, I'm going to give him time, give the running back time. Maybe we can attribute it again to offensive line play and maybe scheme, whatever it may be. It takes time. Sometimes it takes time. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Vegas is kind of like in the same breath as Dallas is. And this is why I think that Chicago wins this game. Chicago's, they had a coming out party against Dallas. I think they were, pretty PO for the week before, and they got 52 dropped on them. They want to come out and say, hey, we can run offense too now, and we can drop points on you. And Dallas is basically the pretty good team to do it with in this time frame because Dallas is not showing us too much. And I think Vegas is the same thing. They're not showing us too much. They don't really have a great defense. They don't really have a great offense. It's another team that they can beat up on. Me, I'm an NFC North person, so I picked every NFC North team this week. So that's good for me. I'm not trying to be a hater. But yeah, Genty is something's not right about Genty. I just don't see that it factor in him when he plays these games. It does seem like he's scared to block. He hits the hole not with aggression, but he hits the hole hesitant. Has a hesitant step when he hits the hole. I don't know if that's being rookie nerves or he just needs to get. But when you see that in a running back early and he doesn't have that it factor, kind of turns out later on in life he's not going to be the greatest either. But I'm not saying his career is done off of 3 games. That's ridiculous. But he's got to show me something. And this is another game. Vegas can show me they can beat Chicago. Then I might have more faith in them. I don't have faith in the Vegas right now. I got way more faith in Chicago. By the way, to your comment, Monkey, Swift is questionable, as is Cortland Loveland. They're both questionable in this game, so that he's not injured to be out, but he's questionable. All right, next game on the docket. Game of the day. The Baltimore Ravens, 1-2. Going to KC, 1-2. Baltimore's favored by 2.5. Jack, who do you got?
It's hard to believe one of these teams is going to fall to 1-3. And you kind of wonder which of the 2 teams, if they fall to 1-3, has a better chance of rebounding, still having a good season. I would think it would be Baltimore because they're a little better team. And I think Baltimore is going to prevail today. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have all his weapons back. Xavier Worthy is going to be playing at least this game, I hear, which is going to help. Something's off with the Chiefs. They still might make a run and might make the playoffs, even with a loss. But it doesn't get easier when you look even within their own division, who they're going to have to play, again, the Chargers. They'll be back with the Chargers again, the Broncos, some of the other matchups. So I like the Ravens in this game. They're too good a team to be 1-2. But they lost to the Lions, and I think they caught the Lions at the top of their game when they played them last week. I don't know whether you agree, Brian. That was a very good Lion team that was up for that game. And the game was there for the Ravens to win too. But, the Lions answered the bell at all times during the game. I have to like the Ravens to beat the Chiefs, and it might not be that close. It might be 27-14, something like that. I think the Raven defense is going to really harass Patrick Mahomes, who really hasn't had, a lot of protection this year. But that's the story with most quarterbacks, isn't it? But Patrick Mahomes will do these heroic things, make great plays, even with a lack of protection. But if you don't have the weapons to throw to, you're not going to make those big plays.
So you got the Ravens, Jack?
And Travis Kelce, I think there's going to be a little drama concerning him as the season goes along. He's 36 years old. All players decline. It doesn't mean he can't be a decent player the rest of the year, but a decent tight end in Travis Kelce isn't enough. He's got to play at the level as one of the greatest of all time at that position, and he's not that anymore. So how is that going to play out when he's not going to be seeing the ball as much? It can't be as effective.
James, who you got?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, there's one key factor here, or three key factors here, and they're all fumbles from Derrick Henry. So stop fumbling the ball. Those are key. Two of them were key losses. Hold on to the ball, man. That's it. Don't fumble the ball. And I think Baltimore wins this game. And also, there's no wide receivers there. Worthy coming back, to me, he's probably going to have PTSD from that hit. He's going to be a little antsy and looking around. His head's going to be on a swivel, looking all over the place, trying to figure out what happened. I think Patrick Mahomes, you can never underestimate him. He's a great quarterback. So you give him the benefit of the doubt. And I still think he can find ways to win against. There's some holes in Baltimore's defense for sure. They're not as good as people think. And the Lions can attest to that for sure. So they both against the Bills and the Lions, they gave up a lot of points. And so I just think that they're going to have problems there, but they're offensively, they're a problem for defenses as well. And so I don't think the Chiefs defense has enough for them. As long as Derrick Henry can hold on to the ball, they can run the ball and they can pass it. And I like Bateman. He's starting to show up for them. He's really starting to show that he can actually be maybe a number one receiver. So I like them, and I think that Baltimore wins this game, and they probably win by 10, 15.
All right, so I like all the commentary from both you guys, and Monkey brought up a very good point that Worthy will probably have that that gun shy thing going on because the Ravens are a physical team. Of course, they didn't show that against the Lions too much. The Lions pretty much bullied them all day, but they are a very physical team. The thing that you got to understand between these two teams, these are proud organizations. The Chiefs obviously are came off a Super Bowl, and they lost, obviously, but they've been in Super Bowls. Ravens haven't achieved that factor yet. They're going to be playing in Kansas City. Don't underestimate Spagnuolo. He's a very great defensive coordinator. I do think that they're going to limit they've beaten the Ravens before in conference finals and stuff like that. So it's not something that's new to the Chiefs as far as that's concerned, as far as Lamar Jackson and the offense is concerned. This is what I said before about the Lions. Everybody want to make a big, Ravens defense stinks. I said, yeah, but they do have an offense. They are one of the top 5 offenses in the league. They put up 40 points against Buffalo, 41 points against Cleveland, and 30 points against Detroit. They have an offense. Detroit just played a really good game. You have to play a disciplined game against Lamar Jackson, and I think Kansas City can do that. So I think Kansas City can win this game. It's going to be a tight game, though. It's not going to be a blowout. No 10 point. That ain't going to happen. It's probably like 27-24, something like that. But I got the Chiefs winning this. They need to win just as much as the Ravens do, and it's at home. So they have to.
We talked about statement games like a moment ago. We talked with the Colts, with the Rams. I think this would be a big statement victory if the Chiefs won. Not so much for the Ravens, but for the Chiefs. You beat this Raven team who badly needs to win this game of 1-2, And if you believe the way James and I do in the Ravens, we both picked them to win the Super Bowl, and I'm sticking with that pick, and I have to believe James is too. It's a big statement if you're the Chiefs. Don't go to sleep on us. I mean, we're valid Super Bowl contenders still. But if they lose this game, the Chiefs, and especially if it's by more than a touchdown, let's say 10 points, and they fall to 1-3, they enter the category of potential playoff teams still, but long in the tooth, not quite the same team. They'll be reminding me of the Buffalo Bill teams after they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. They'd still go to the playoffs, but they get eliminated. They kind of lost their edge.
So I'm going to go the opposite end of the spectrum here against versus you, Jack. I'm going to say it's a statement game for Baltimore, particularly for Lamar, because he hasn't beaten this team, and he's got to get that monkey off his back, like with Pittsburgh. So I think it's more of a statement game for him to say, okay, if we're going to hit, especially that you're 1-2, you're not on the winning side of the, of the record, and you really got to figure out a way to beat these guys and get that monkey off your back so that you can go.
Yeah, people don't realize
but
they're going to blame Lamar Jackson. Oh, he's not much. They're 1-2, but if you look closely, he's done his job. He's maybe been 90% of himself. Don't put.
I agree with you. But I'm just saying it's still from the history. I'm just saying he got to win this game. He's got to win this game.
Everyone has a bad history against the Chiefs. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Everyone has to get over the top, but they don't get to really do it for real till the playoffs. I mean, no matter what they do in the regular season, until the Chiefs are gone and one of those other quarterbacks gets to the Super Bowl who's not named Patrick Mahomes, they're going to have that hanging over them, of course.
You know what? I'm going against both of you. I think this is a detrimental team for both win for both these teams. Right now, regardless of history, both these teams are 1-2 coming in here, knowing they can play a lot better than they've been playing. Okay, both teams need us win. They're fading fast in their own division. It means probably more for Kansas City because the leader of their division is 3-0, whereas Pittsburgh is just 2-1. Cincinnati's 2-1 too, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Great point.
And so Ravens really we know how the Ravens can be during the rest of the season, and they can win these games. Right now, they're just they got to figure that defense out. Once they figure that defense out, because they have the players to play that defense. Once they figure that defense out, you can look out because they're gonna, they're like the Lions that beat them. They figured that defense out and they figured that offense out at the same time. You're not going to be able to stop those teams. You're just not. So I have faith in the Ravens picking it back up. I just think this game means more to Kansas City just based on the standing itself. So, yeah.
You made a phenomenal point, Brian, that I didn't even think of. The Ravens could lose today and still win the division by 3 or 4 games because they got Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati with Burrow out now. Things don't look good, even though it's possible they'll rebound. But you look at Kansas City, the Chargers are going to be good the rest of the way. The Broncos probably are going to be good the rest of the way. And they fall to 1-3, and the Chargers are 4-0 if they win today. Wow. I mean, you talk about a hole that might be nearly insurmountable.
Yeah, and think about it. They've already lost to the Chargers.
Well, they'll play them again.
But they still got that 1 game advantage over them. So it's like 2 games ahead of them. But like I said, both teams need this win. They do. And they're probably going to play like it this afternoon as well. So let's look forward to a really good game between those two. Speaking of not good games, we're going to the Packers versus the Cowboys. Return of Micah Parsons. And Jack, who you got? If you pick the Cowboys,
Jones, of course, he's been asked about Micah Parsons all week, and Jerry Jones got a little antsy, but he was right. How many Super Bowls have we won with Micah Parsons? If Micah Parsons was on the Cowboys this year, they're 1-2 right now. They'd still be 1-2. So I think Micah Parsons is much more of an asset for the Packers than he is hurting the Cowboys. I can't figure out sometimes some of these games. Opening game, the Cowboy defense showed up against Philadelphia. They played really well. They played tough. And then the last 2 weeks, they were horrendous against the New York Giants. Russell Wilson had a rebirth against them. He looked sensational. And then Caleb Williams, was that his coming out party for real against the Cowboys? Or was that an illusion because he was playing against Dallas? They've been terrible defensively the last 2 weeks. Packers struggled on offense last week. So they're going to be up. They're going to make the adjustments. They should score points against the Cowboys, but you don't know a game like this. It's a Cowboy defense who we thought would be a lot better than they've been the last 2 weeks. So they're going to finally get it together. With that said, I think the Packers are just a better team. I like them to win like 28-20, something like that.
Oh, you're being nice, Jack. Go ahead, James.
The Packers are going to come down there and just obliterate that team. And don't get me wrong, I think that the Cowboys offensively probably could do some things against the Packers, but their defense. We saw what happened in Cleveland, but Cleveland doesn't have the same offense that the Cowboys do. So the Cowboys probably will put up some points. I think it's going to be closer than people think, but I think that the Packers, and I think Micah Parsons is itching to get back and get a sack, because I don't think he really cared too much for Dak Prescott, and so I think he wants to get 1 or 2 sacks on him, and maybe 3. I'm going to go out and I know you make a bold statement. I think Micah Parsons has 3 sacks in this game.
Oh, wow,
that's a bold statement, and I think
he might be hurt. He might be hurt somewhat. So
4 times.
Yeah,
that's even more than yours.
Yeah, he put 4. Yeah, so I got 3.
Dak Prescott has played well this year, and if you're going to ask me, I may have been on the fence a little bit about this in the off season, but if you ask me right now who's a better quarterback, Dak Prescott or Jordan Love, I'll tell you Dak Prescott is the better quarterback between the two. And you always have to consider that factor, when 2 teams play one another.
Mm-hmm. But the only problem I have with that is that it's going to be too easy for Jordan Love, because the Dallas Cowboys secondary is atrocious. And so, yes, and they got decent weapons at tight end, wide receiver, the running back. It's going to be hard. And so I think it's maybe a 16 to 18 point win by the Packers in that big circus dome down there.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe the hype about Micah Parsons coming back and just destroying Dak Prescott in the backfield. I think the person that you have to watch on the defense for Green Bay is Rasheed Gary. Dude he's feeding off whatever Micah Parsons is putting out there, which is good. That's what the Packers defense needs. That's what they set their defense up to be. They didn't necessarily want to get good. They took out their goodness in the middle of their line and made their ends better. So with Micah being there is making Rasheed a lot better. And this is a Rasheed that I've been waiting to see for a long time, because he sucked last year. I mean, he had good stats, but he like I said, we had this conversation before about this guy. He has a flurry of games where he gets 3 or 4 sacks, and then you don't see him for another 3, 4, 5 weeks. He's playing at a consistent level, and I think that has a lot to do with Parsons and people having to double team him, and he's getting free. People just don't realize how good Rasheed Gary can be if he has an equal line mate on there. And I think Micah is the guy that's taking him outside. I do think Micah might get a sack in this one. I just think Rasheed is the one that's going to probably be pile driving Dak back there. I don't think it's going to be necessarily Micah, but go ahead, Jack.
CD Lamb is out. Okay.
CD Lamb is out. Yeah.
Lamb is out. So Pickens is going to have this enormous responsibility. And we know his history at Pittsburgh. He get a little too emotional. And finally, Mike Tomlin had enough of him. So they traded him off to Dallas. And Dallas took a fly on him because he's a great talent. But to get as emotional as he did, if he gets that way during the game, there's going to be a storyline going on about him as the season goes along. He gets a chance to be the number one receiver today, because normally he would be like 1A to CD Lamb. And I think Pickens kind of understood it. As long as he would get the ball enough and they'd win, he can manage that. But if he's the number one receiver today and the offense is struggling and he's not getting enough throws his way, and he has a tantrum on the sideline, at the end of the day, that might be actually a bigger story. How's Jerry Jones going to deal with Pickens as opposed to the Micah Parsons return?
Yeah, because he already has thrown a temper tantrum on his sideline already. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next game. In about 10 minutes here.
Yeah, he already. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have one more game. I mean, we could bypass it for them because this was.
Yeah,
we are definitely not bypassing, sir. I got to give you the business.
The next game on Monday night will be the Jets versus the Miami Dolphins at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, we got to get
I know that's the first one. But the Jets and the Miami Dolphins are playing, and the Dolphins are favored by 2.5 points. Jack, who do you have?
I like the Jets. The Dolphins are still a mess. It's going to be one of these games you have to have a win. I see the Jets winning like 30-24. The big story to me is Breece Hall. He looked good in the opening game, not good the last couple of games. He didn't have a good second season last year. The Jets are having problems running the ball. Justin Fields is coming back. I seriously question whether he's their franchise quarterback the way Aaron Glenn is making it out to be. There's got to be a winner here. Neither team is very good, but I think the Jets are going to be okay going forward. I predict they'll be 7-7 the rest of the year. Dolphins, I think it's going to be a long year, and this will be it for Mike McDaniel at the end of the season.
I know that's right. So you got the Jets.
So
good.
Go ahead.
Jack. Good pick.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Jets too in this one. Fields coming back. I don't trust the Dolphins, and I don't trust Tua. But I mean, they can be streaky. They can actually put up some points and yards. But the Jets defense has been disappointing this season. I really picked them to be better because of the personnel that they have, and they just been giving up a lot of points to teams. And I still got them. I think I'm going to believe them. They're going to beat a really terrible Dolphins team. And I think offensively they can run the ball. I think Breece Hall bounces back, Jack. And I think Justin Fields, as long as you can run the RPO, man, it's just really tough for defenses to like I said, they had a great game against the Steelers, but they lost that one. And they have an opportunity to win some games, and I think they're going to win this one for sure. It'll be close, though.
Let me just say something very quickly. I know we're running out of time. Why is the game being played in Miami? Where it's hot. Why didn't they play the second of the two games later in Miami and play this one, in New Jersey? I just don't get the scheduling.
Because that's what the scheduling is about, making unfair advantages, Jack. That's the whole point. The Jets, I also picked the Jets. Now, the Jets are going to this is going to be a close game. I think that the Jets can expose the Dolphins defense. They have no good. Their secondary is horrendous. And really what they should do is they should do a lot of RPOs. I think when Justin Field comes back, that should be a good thing for them, do a lot of RPOs, because he seems to have found his accuracy as far as throwing. If he can do that, he'll be fine. The Jets have ruled out Jermaine Johnson II and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. for Monday's night game. Also, Quentin Williams is on the IR as well. So their defense has taken a little bit of a hit with both those players.
Wow.
Jermaine Johnson, too. And yeah.
So it's really going to be a close game. It's probably going to be high scoring for sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee that because, Tyreek's fine. Everybody's fine. Questionable coming into the game, but I figure Tyreek's going to play. And Tua's, of course, it's at home, so they're going to want to make a good home stand.
Quinn is on IR?
Yeah, he's on IR right now.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
For a shoulder. Yeah, he's a shoulder injury. The next game we have is Cincinnati at Denver. Denver's favored by 8.5 points, no doubt. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, last week I said the Bengals weren't going to be hurt that much during the regular season with Burrow out, that Jake Browning could do a good job. They'll be hurt when they get in the playoffs. That's when they absolutely would need Burrow in the worst way. They were so terrible losing to the Vikings. I mean, Jake Browning was beyond awful. I'm not optimistic now at all, and especially Denver, who needs a win here, playing at Mile High Stadium. They should win comfortably 31-13. Now, a lot of pressure on Jake Browning to show that he can still be, the guy is to fill in the main backup while Burrow is out probably for the rest of the season.
The pressure that's on Browning is the back of his pants, like his name is going to be loaded with Brown, because he is not a good quarterback. He is definitely not an excellent replacement for Joe Burrow. And I just think that with the weapons that you have offensively, they already had a bad defense. We already know that, but we were expecting Joe Burrow to be there and to score high points so they can win games. But that's not it now. I mean, the wheels have fallen off, and I think it's going to be really difficult against this Broncos defense. Which the Broncos defense, if they had a running back for the Bengals, they can run the ball a lot better, because the Broncos have been giving up a lot of rush yards to teams, particularly like Jonathan Taylor we mentioned. So I just don't, but they don't have that. And so I just think they take advantage of them. And I agree with you, Jack, in that score, maybe 30-13, 30-14. So if that, and it's unfair to the two wide receivers that they just paid all that money to not be able to really get the ball. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding for 3 months that Burrow's out, roughly the whole season.
So I also have the Broncos. Burrow and Fant are out, obviously. The offensive line for Cincinnati is the reason why Burrow is out, period. When people pick them to be winning this division or coming in second, I'm like, are you not looking? What's in the trenches is going to get you to where you got to go. If you have a bad offensive line and a bad defensive line, I don't care what quarterback you got back there, you're not going to make the playoffs because you're just bad. And yet you could spend all that money on those offensive players, but you don't spend any money on the defense. And defense, Hendrickson's going to get his stats. He's going to get his sack a game basically. So I mean, whatever. But that's not going to turn around the game. He's not going to be the guy that turns the game around. So. And the Broncos, they need this win. They really do. They're 1-2. They're coming off a pretty bad showing the last game. So they gotta come out, because they're another team in that tough AFC West, and they got to win a game just to keep up with everybody. So yeah, I'm going with the Broncos too. And on that, no. Anybody else have any other football related information they would like to give us?
Not really. I just want to congratulate you, Brian, on the Detroit Tigers making the playoffs.
Well, whatever. Anyway, I wish they would have lost every one of those games. Look. What they're gonna do is they're gonna go in the playoffs, and they got to probably play Cleveland, which is going to probably be most likely who they're going to have to play. And the Indians are going to kick at their butt again. And it's for what? I don't want my team to go into the playoffs limping and just get eliminated in the first round. Just don't be in the playoffs, okay? Because
there's a lot
destroyed.
But can I tell you, there's a lot. There's only one playoff position open right now to see who gets in. That's the National League. There's a lot of interest in New York. The Mets have to win today and hope that Cincinnati loses to Milwaukee for the Mets to get into the playoffs. If that scenario doesn't happen, the Mets are out. The Reds are in. The Reds are in if they win or the Mets lose. I mean, this is panic time for the Mets with the Juan Soto signing and everything, not to be in the playoffs. I mean, what a colossal mess if that happens.
Yeah. Well, good luck to all the teams today. Today is the last regular season game in the MLB. It's going to come down. A lot of these teams is coming down to the last game in general. So good luck to all the teams that are in a playoff hunt for the Major League Baseball season. we'll be able to talk more about that once we get everything straightened out today after today's scores. At the meantime, the Pittsburgh Steelers right now in the first quarter are winning 7-3 over Minnesota. Gainwell just scored a 1-yard touchdown for Pittsburgh. So there's your scoring update. Other than that, everybody have a good rest of your Sunday. Again, if you check out the bottom of the ticker there, we have the shows coming on National Streaming Sport. Jack's is the next show coming up. Jack and Keith, actually. And then Jack in the afternoon or in the evening for the Gloved Fist. And furthermore, just keep up that line on the bottom there and get back with us. Everybody have a great rest of the day. See ya.